Joined now by retired Lieutenant General Richard Newton, a friend of the show. Good morning to you, sir.
Good morning, Adrienne, and happy spring.
Yes, happy spring. I wish we had a happier topic. Clearly, this is something that a lot of people fear. But we live in a world where corporations and individuals like you and me, we're not unaware of cyber attacks. So what exactly does the president want done that differs from other warnings?
Well, obviously, with the conflict going on in Ukraine, by the way, the Ukrainian people continue to astonish us with their resilience and their resolve and so forth. I think the president yesterday, his remarks with those business leaders is also, he's ushering in his words and his efforts to, again, rally the American business community to, again, stiffen our cyber defense and defenses. That's a national security issue, and we should expect more Russian attacks. It's not as if we've never been attacked by Russia in the cyber domain before, but it's up to individuals, but also our nation's leading businesses to shore up their cybersecurity. And that's what I'm sure they're going to endeavor to do. It's not just the businesses alone. They're, again, closely coordinated with the Department of Homeland Security, which is the U.S. lead for cybersecurity and so forth. But we should anticipate some Russia attacks in the cyber realm.
Cyber attacks are clearly a modern day war tactic. So while this ground war could be contained to Ukraine, does what the president's warning signal the world of a global attack in the cyber realm?
Yeah, I would consider a global attack in terms of cyber. Cyber is ubiquitous. It's like oxygen. It's like air. But again, we are closely coordinating with other nations, their departments of Homeland Security, to shore up the best we possibly can in terms of not only again, identifying attacks, but also trying to be very key in terms of the attribution, who's actually conducting these attacks. I think you're going to find a more unified world, certainly with NATO and U.S.-led efforts there, but also not only in the military and the diplomatic, but also in the cyber realm as well. And that's what you're seeing play out. That will be a key topic, by the way, at the upcoming ministerial that Allison mentioned on Thursday in Brussels.
Yeah, the NATO summit. I want to get to this hypersonic missile because it was confirmed by Washington. Russia did indeed use that technology targeting Ukraine. Does this change the game?
In my view, it's not a game changer. The Russians are dug in. They're on their heels. Putin is certainly on his heels. And so what Putin demonstrated was a very capable, high-tech employment of a hypersonic missile, which goes up to 10 times the speed of sound. That's over 8,000 miles an hour. It has some capability in terms of a pinpoint accuracy and so forth. But to me, it's not a game changer. I'm going to flip that. It's actually showing that Putin, I think, is really again, as I mentioned, on his heels and really running out of effective military instruments of power on his battlefield in Ukraine and trying to show that he's got other capabilities as well.
So is President Biden right when he says that Putin's, quote, back is against the wall?
Absolutely. I think his back is against the wall. I think the momentum is certainly on the side of the Ukrainian people. He is actually, when the president's saying his back against the wall, he's also saying that he's becoming a pariah. Almost like the hermit kingdom, if you will, of North Korea. A little bit of a stretch, but that would be my assessment right now, because he really has bitten off much more than he can chew, and that he's becoming isolated, not only isolated within, the international community, but isolated perhaps among his friends. And this is what the president's going to rally also in Brussels. He'll talk about China. He'll talk about India and South Africa and so forth, who are at least neutral to abstaining, against Putin and trying to be lined up with him to some degree. But you're going to see more and more resolve, I think, coming out of this NATO summit.
All right. Retired Lieutenant General Richard Newton, thanks for being with us.
You bet. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to click on the red subscribe button below so you can get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.